Cuba. Go on, off you go. Teddy, go. Anyone out there? Hello? Hang on, just gonna... Wait, can you bring this up so I can see a bit of the... Oh, there we go. Alright, is anyone out there? Can you see my things in it? Can you see my feet in it?
No.
I don't know. I need to change this so I can see.
Okay.
Alright. Alright, is anyone out there? Comment down if you can see me. See if this is working. There's shadows coming off from the lights behind you. Oh, we got our first person. Hello, mate. Al, I imagine is. How you doing, Al? No beers tonight. I've just got a Chivas Regal and Coke. What are you drinking, mate? Hope it's a bit cooler where you are. Just a Coke. Good on you, man. Responsible. Anyone else out there? I can see there's 4 people watching at the moment. Give a comment if you're watching. What is the time anyway? So we started the show a little bit early just to try and iron out any technical things that might occur. But it's good to see that everything's working so far. The light looks pretty good. How's the image quality on your end, Al? Can you see everything okay? Is the audio okay? Oh, this is nice. Oh, mate. Little Yeti 120. I remember you, mate, on Instagram. Awesome to watch your Prado build on there, man. It looks good. Nice to see other white 120s out there looking as good as all the other grey and silver ones, which is nice. Well, we've got 6 people up now. This is, on record, my most popular live stream. So to be part of it, you must feel pretty special. That's okay. So do I. Cheers, Alan. That's real nice of you. Who else is out there? I can see there's other people out there watching. If you're watching right now, throw a comment down. Tell me your name and where you're from. I need some more wood for this fire, see? Oh, hey, mate. Now, I would be it would be very nice for me to know how to pronounce your name, but I'm not 100% sure. So, you know who you are, mate, and thanks for signing in and joining me around the campfire for tonight. Not bad, eh? Hmm. William, nice to meet you, buddy. Thumbs up to you too. We're still a few minutes away from that kind of 6:30 time, I think. Or maybe it's just gone past, not too sure, but... Thanks, William. Good to know someone else out there had to set an alarm. Cheers, buddy. Oh, wow. All the way around the world, eh? Good on you, mate. Well, look, thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming and jumping on the live stream. I know most of you guys are probably already subscribers and watched a bit of my content, but if you're not, subscribe and all that sort of stuff. I'll only say it once because otherwise I don't want to be that YouTuber that's jumping down your throat trying to get subscribe and likes and all the rest of it. So, look, thanks for being supportive, guys. I really appreciate it. Oh. Kal-El, is that correct? Kal-El? K-L-L? I think so. I'm sorry, mate. I'm not very good with names and that sort of stuff. I'm getting better. Superman's dad. Yeah, Kal-El. There we go. Who's this? Tom. Looking forward to being able to get out, go camping and hit the tracks. Me too, buddy. Me too, Tom. I'm absolutely frothing. Not being able to drive anywhere, especially, I mean, I've got a little secret track just down the road from where I am, which is good to just get it out of your system to, you know, lift a wheel, lock it in low range, that sort of thing. And it's absolutely tearing at me that I can't go and do it because now I've cleaned the car 3 or 4 times. I've fitted a bunch of new little accessories, and yeah, the weather's just been perfect for going for a drive, but unfortunately in this current environment, I'm not able to. Oh, good on you, Will. Overpriced servo firewood, mate. I've lived off that stuff before. It is expensive, and I think they use just like the cheapest wood they can find because it burns really quick. It's usually just pine or like offcuts of lumber, which is not ideal. I've got some nice jarrah here. Anyone who's from WA, if they're on YouTube, they'll always go on about how WA, oh, we got jarrah trees. I mean, listen to Graham Cahill. He's one of them. But yeah, good old jarrah. Gives a nice little aroma once it's burning off. It's beautiful. Mitchell, how you doing, man? I thought your name was Sharon. Good to see you, Mitch. I love your Prado on Insta, man. It's awesome. Good to see other big rigs out there. Yours is a 4-inch lift, isn't it? Nice champagne-looking Prado. How nice is this fire, hey? Nice to be in a place where we can actually have fires in the backyard. It's awesome. Oh, cool. Thanks for that, Mitch. Say hi to Sharon for me. At least we both have soccer mums cars. That's always nice. Now, I recognise a few of the names coming up now as people who've asked me questions. What's in the glass? This is Chivas Regal and Coke, mate. This is only the finest stuff for the premium live stream quality that you guys have come to expect from my one live stream previous, which is this one. Also, it's smooth and it was pretty cheap, so, you know, cheers. Enjoy. What are you guys drinking? What are you drinking, mate? Oh. All right, cheers, Mitch. Good to see you, man. Thanks for dropping in. I'll talk to you soon. And good on you on the Reds. Good on you, man. That'll get the fire working for sure, definitely. Now, since we've got a few people on here, I might start knocking off a few of these questions, because I got a few of them. Hennessy, he's up, Tom. Jeez, you're going to put us all to shame, mate. Nice drink. Good drop, that one. Enjoy it, mate. That should be good for you. I'm going to start going through some of these questions that we've got. I'm sure we're going to get some other people jumping on soon enough. But for you guys out there who've jumped on to listen to me rabble on about questions people have asked, got a big list of them. Look at that. So I might just jump in. Even though you're on here, Tom, I'm not going to answer your question just yet. I'll find a separate one. Got to keep you keen, keep you mean, buddy. So I'll actually. Well, this is one that was from Mitchell, or Sharon the Prado, as his Instagram title goes by. And he says, when will you come to Queensland so I can show you how we party up here? Now, mate, I don't know what sort of partying you're talking about. I mean, I've heard about Queenslanders and the way that four-wheel drivers like to party over there. Not sure I'm keen on that sort of party. I actually bought my Prado originally in Queensland. I lived in Brisbane for 5 years, and that's where I bought the Prado, and where I kind of cut my teeth on breaking stuff on the Prado as well, out at places like Fernvale and Glass House and stuff like that. Even heading out behind Ormo, in the people who know that in Brisbane there. Just got Teddy to come in and say hello. I know he's taken off. So when am I coming to Queensland again? I don't know when the Prado will be back. We'll be back later on in the year for a family event, and whether or not the Prado is going to be there, I can't say, because honestly we haven't made a decision on that. But fingers crossed I do manage to get back there, because I would like to go back and hit some of the old tracks I used to do, and see if I can do them any better, which would be nice. So yeah, thanks for that one, man. Hopefully I'll see you in Queensland soon. Tom, what sort of power do you get out of the engine with all the mods? It's Cooper in the background there, just jumping in a little bit. Oh my god. I might throw some wood in this fire before I answer your question, Tom. Oh, hello, Astrid. Will you come back to Moreton? Definitely. I'll definitely be back to Moreton. Whether or not the Prado's there is another question. A few things up in the air at the moment, but yeah, we'll see how we go. I would like to bring it back because it's always good being back on Moreton, but we'll see how we go. Tom, to answer your question on there, man, did I spend any time in northern New South Wales? I did. We did a few little trips. We went down to Byron Bay. We went down to, I forget the name of the place now. Little place just past Byron Bay. Not much forward driving, just mostly sightseeing. We did a drive from Brisbane to Sydney. Stopped in at all the major places, did all the touristy stuff. So yeah, saw a little bit, but yeah, man, next time I'm down that way, we'll tee it up and you can come and show me some of these awesome tracks you're talking about. It should be awesome. All right, Tom, back to your question. Sorry, man. What sort of power do you get out of the engine with all the mods? I don't have a definitive number because I haven't had it dyno tuned. And I don't think I ever will unless I actually need something done, because I'm pretty happy with how it is at the moment. Usually the way I describe it, because I mean, like, I've done a lot of kind of engine work to it, but I wouldn't say it's much faster than a standard Prado. I think because I've added the extra height, the extra weight, high Ks on an old diesel engine, it brings the performance down a bit. Me adding all these bits kind of brings it back up to standard. So it's maybe a little bit quicker than a standard Prado. I think if you stripped all the weight off of it and put a lower lift on it, it would probably perform a bit better. But at the moment, I mean, it's definitely not a race car, but when you want it to, it gets up in boogies. I can hold it at highway speeds going up a hill, which is always nice. Before that, I really had to drop back to kind of 70 k's an hour, which was, yeah, not ideal. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I got another question from a guy called Theodoros Stokos, which is a cool sounding name. Sounds like a brand of something. He asked name of the bonnet scoop. The bonnet scoop on the front of the Prado is from a 2015 SR5 Hilux. I got it from a wrecker, picked it up at a wrecker at Sandgate, actually, out of Brisbane. And they charged me 125 bucks for it. Came with all the studs, all the rubber gaskets, all that sort of stuff. And then I went to a guy up in Taroom in Queensland, who had done a few installs of these, and I'd spoken to him and he told me about the complications involved, because you've got a flat bonnet scoop meeting up with a curved bonnet, so you have to kind of make these weird brackets to get it to fit nicely. So I ended up going up to see him and he fitted it for me, or we fitted it together. I ended up cutting the first hole, or making the first cut, which was probably the hardest bit, especially in a pristine bonnet where it never had any damage before. And then yeah, he showed me how they fit it all up. So yeah, it's pretty simple to install, but he showed me the little tips and tricks of how to get it to sit nicely, which is always good. So yeah, that's the name of it. I chose the wider bonnet scoop because I think it looks better than the little thin ones. It just ends up looking like something that's been ripped off of a patrol or something. Gotta wash my mouth out now because of that dirty word. Oh, hi Mum. Mum's on here. Yeah, Cooper's having his dinner at the moment because he's getting in the way a little bit. So, but yeah, all good, man. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll ask another one. A lot of these questions kind of overlap a little bit in the kind of responses I'm going to give. So this one's from a guy called Jim C on YouTube. It says, how reliable is the 1KZ? What's the balance of fuel economy and power? 1KZ, very reliable. They go forever. They last a long time. They don't have they're not massively efficient. They're not massively powerful, but they just keep on trucking. Pretty sure it was an engine that was invented in the 1980s to like power water pumps in the mines. So yeah, it just keeps on going. Don't expect big things of it, but it's very reliable. It's very easy to work on. Parts are not complicated or expensive, so that's why I got it, because I wanted something like that. I mean, you can always have something else if you want high power, but I mean, for something shaped like a brick, you're not going to get much use out of that lot of power anyway. Fuel economy. The Aussie delivered Prados come with a standard 180 litre tank, or come with two 90 litre tanks, I should say. And standard, like straight out of the showroom, you should get around 15 to 1600 Ks. By the time I've added all the weight on there and then done all the extra mods on that, I mean, that's going to detract from it regardless, because you're using more power to move more weight. I mean, it's a law of physics. So I'd probably get maybe 13 to 1400 Ks out of both tanks. And that's like highway driving as well. If it was lots of forward driving, it might drop down a bit, but I mean, they're just an old chugger of a motor, and as long as you don't redline them the whole time, then you'll be good. Yeah, so thanks Jim C for that question. What we got on here? Will, had to change your injectors yet? Any issues with fuel gauge? I changed my my diesel injectors at 400,000 Ks. I wasn't having any problems with it, but you kind of hit that kind of milestone. I thought I'll give it a birthday. So I spoke to my local fuel injection place and they said, yep, we can do reconditioned ones. They're a simple injector. You don't need to go brand new. They just replace the needle and everything inside. Got them for 70 bucks each, replaced them over, took the old ones into them, and they said, mate, these old ones are still perfect. You sure you want to buy them? And I said, oh, I'll just replace them anyway, because they're quick and easy to change. Did I notice a big change? Maybe a little bit perkier off the line, a little bit better on fuel, but again, I wouldn't say they've made a big difference. So unless you've got a big problem, like you're blowing a lot of, you're suffering a lot of power or using a lot more fuel than normal, then I'd say don't worry about it. They're a reliable old bucket of an engine, so just keep it going. So yeah, cheers for that, Will. No, I haven't had any issues with the fuel gauge. I mean, it's a 120 fuel gauge, so it's kind of weird anyway, so you can only really gauge how much fuel you got between full and empty, and anywhere in between is anywhere in between. So yeah, no problems as of yet. Tom, what are you asking? What are your thoughts on converting over to, say, a water air intercooler setup? running out in piss oil, probably not. Water to air intercooler. I honestly don't have much knowledge of them. I know that they are more efficient than kind of air to air intercoolers. They'll drop your temps a bit more. There's a lot more going on. You've got water pumps and lines and all the rest of it. Would I consider it? Again, I mean, I'm not chasing huge power in the car. At the moment, the intake temps stay reasonably low compared to ambient temperatures. So would I consider it? If I did a full rebuild and I was going like bigger turbo and I was really going all out, I'd probably look into doing that, or a front mount, depending on where the budget was sitting. But for now, I'm happy with as it is. The Bonnet scoop made a huge difference in terms of the temperature for the intercooler, and I highly recommend that. Water to air, I mean, you're replacing a lot of stuff and doing custom stuff, so it's kind of cost versus gain. I don't see it being a huge winner, but yeah, we'll see. There's a hole in my glass somewhere. It's getting empty. Shuey, good to see you, man. What's your favorite ISO activity? This is a parental friendly channel, so I'd probably say something along the lines of doing research and uni work. No, while I've been stuck in ISO, well, not really. I mean, I've only just had my work kind of downgrade my hours, so now it's kind of, I can't go anywhere because I've got no money to go anywhere and there's nothing to really do. Cleaned the car, reorganised my drawers, cleaned all that out, cleaned the shed, done a bunch of other stuff. So it's really just going through my list of everything I've put off doing for so long with the car, and just working my way through that. And it's good because you can see your progress, and like now I'm so keen to go out because it's like, you know, I fixed up a bunch of things and it's going to make camping and touring and four-wheel driving so much quicker and easier and more convenient that I'm eager to go out. I may even just go drive over a curb somewhere just to feel like I'm doing something cool. So yeah, good on you, Shuey. Loving the channel, by the way. Looking forward to your live stream tomorrow night as well on the Great Australian Campout. I'll be tuning in for that one. Motorcycle Josh, hard or soft tacos? Oh, that's a good one. Hi Teddy, come here, up. You may see in a few videos I end up having my dogs with me. This is Teddy. He's our little 2-year-old puppy. He hangs around, doesn't say too much. The other one, Cooper's still off having dinner. But yeah, they're good boys. So yeah, you'll see them around a little bit. Hard or soft tacos? Or I'd say, for convenience sake, I'd say a soft taco. Go a burrito or something like that, just because it's easy to eat. But then again, you end up having those cravings for like a hard taco, where it's like you get that crunchiness and you're just like, what have you done, mate? Now you've made me hungry for Mexican food. I might even go order some Zambrero or something. But something living in our backyard. Oh no, it's Cooper. Yeah, cheers for that, Josh. Oh, Dave, good to see you, man. Linex Australia. I'm sure that's your personal one. Dave is a good mate on the WA Prado page, and he recently was very brave and decided to check the depth of a dam, which was great. And I got to check if I still remembered how to do a snatch recovery, which was great. So now he's had a really good excuse to strip out his car, and luckily he knows a guy who's on YouTube. You know, he's like semi-professional. He's like coming up in the world, and he's already done a video on like, you know, how to like clean your car out when you've drowned it. So yeah, you know, he's a good follower. Cheers, man. And LS swap. Should I do an LS swap? I remember seeing a Prado in Gold Coast a number of years ago that had an LS swap I think he went from a V6 to an LS. He managed to get it in there. He had to use a different gearbox. He couldn't use a transfer case. Only was rear-wheel drive. Couldn't get it registered. Couldn't get it insured. So it was basically just a farm rig, and it was pointless. Would I do it if I had money coming out my ears? Yeah, why not? Because, you know, something a little bit different. But I prefer to stick with a diesel because I love the sound of a diesel, and also just the smell of diesel. You know, it just kind of makes your day a little bit better, just having a bit of a waft of those diesel fumes. Fish wraps, fish tacos. You mean, man? No, they were good. Yeah, no, you're making me hungry now, man. Thanks for that, Josh. All right, I'm gonna put another question out there. Nathan Park on YouTube asked me, "Where do you get the blue timing belt cover from?" I painted that myself because I've got heaps of blue spray paint sitting around. And while it was off, I went, "Oh, should I paint it?" And I went, "You know what? I'm just gonna paint it anyway." Because the good thing about things originally being black is you can repaint them black very easily. Um, so I painted it myself. So yeah, thanks, Nathan. Original team guy says, "Do you live at an airport?" No, I don't live at an airport. Where we live is like in the landing kind of path of Perth Airport, um, and we end up getting a lot of planes kind of just coming over us, getting ready to land. So every now and then I'll have to stop a video or reshoot something because the ground and just shakes and the patio cover just vibrates with the sound of a plane being directly overhead. So yeah, the more you know. Luke 90 series on YouTube said, "What brand of CVs did you go for? How much were the dust caps?" I think that's referring to my recent video about the replacing your CVs. The CVs I went for, I just went on eBay. I searched up and bought for some extended CVs for a Prado 120 FJ Cruiser. They rocked up and they had exactly the same part number that they displayed for a standard CV. So thanks eBay. Yeah, but they've lasted just fine. I've had a 4-inch lift on the front of the Prado now for 2 years. I haven't had a diff drop. I drive moderately hard. I have some mechanical sympathy, but I wouldn't say that I'm very light on my gear. And my CVs have been fine. Again, I replace them more of a peace of mind sort of thing. I'm interested to clean all the grease out and see if there's any like stress fractures in the metal. But so far I've seen nothing, so I don't know. I'm pretty happy with them. Just aftermarket ones. I don't think the price of the genuine reflects them being 4 or 5 times better than the aftermarket ones. But that's up to you. The dust caps, which go over the top of the hubs, I think they are maybe like 15, 20 bucks. I'll have to check again. You can get them through like Amayama or Parts OQ, I think it's called, online. You get them pretty cheap, even just through a Toyota deal. They're probably cheap as well. But the part number was up on the video if you're keen to look at that. What else is happening? Marty G. Marty. Go on, Marty. Roughly how much has your car cost to build up? Well, my wife is listening in, so I don't know if I want to say the exact figure. Essentially too much. I haven't kept a running total of how much it's cost to build it up. If you bought a standard Prado and then you wanted to get it to the stage where mine is, I'd say you're looking at probably 10 to 12k as a rough estimate. I mean, that's on the things that I do. I mean, I factor in a lot of the labor and stuff I do myself because either I'm happy to do it myself, or I have the tools, or I have the know-how, or I can't afford someone else to do it. So, I mean, labor's a massive cost. So if you're getting a workshop to build your car, I mean, you can pretty much double the price. There's not a lot of things I've bought as a complete kit off the shelf from a shop. So I've saved a lot of money in buying things secondhand or buying things through different suppliers and not buying complete kits. So I haven't spent as much money as probably what all these things are worth. For example, I don't think I even mentioned this in the actual rooftop tent video, but the alley cab rooftop tent, by the time I replaced the rooftop tent and the roof rack and then put the alley cab up there, the whole thing probably owes me about 1,200 bucks, which for an alley cab rooftop tent plus all their rails plus all the accessories is just nuts, because they are, last time I looked up how much they are retail, they're $5,600. 5,000. That doesn't even include the ladder. They charge you extra for the ladder, which is nuts. So look, by putting in a bit of legwork myself and just kind of waiting for bargains to turn up, I've saved a bit of money that way. So yeah, it's cost me a lot of money, but again, you can do it for cheaper and you can also do it for more expensive. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, cheers for that one, Marty. That's a good question. I know a lot of people get asked that. It's hard to put a dollar figure on some things, but some people do want a dollar figure. So look, man, if you're looking to build up exactly as my car, yeah, if you were handy with the tools, I'd say 10. If you weren't handy with the tools, I'd say closer to 15. Is my car worth cost price plus that 10 to 15 grand? No, it's not. It is not. But that's a discussion for another time. Cheers for that one, Marty. When's the 120 getting 35s? Shuey, I'd love to get some 35s on there, man. I've been cruising through Facebook Marketplace looking for some. I haven't found a good set for a good price. I'm looking for just one that I can get so I can, because basically I figured out I need to get new rims for it if I put 35s on, because the factory alloys are too thin. So I'd get new rims, probably go for like 17 by 9s with a 0 offset. So throw some 35s on there and then see how I go. If they're still a bit close, either I'll get new rims or just stinkily run some wheel spacers. You shouldn't run wheel spacers, they're illegal, don't do it. So soon, Shuey, when I get some money and when work starts giving me hours again. Next vehicle, William, I don't know if you should wash him out to have for that one, man. I love this Prado, it's a great Prado. I think as four-wheel drivers and as kind of people who like to modify their cars, we end up finding weak points and then modifying them or improving them to beat all those. Eventually you get to a stage where you've fixed most of them, you've covered all the cracks that you can find. Underneath there might be like underlying problems that are going to cost more than the car to fix, or they may be insurmountable problems or whatever. Excuse me. Or you may even just find that you want another car. You find another car that looks better or sounds better or whatever. Have I hit that stage? Kind of. At this stage, there's not too much else I have planned to kind of add to it or modify to it. There's like maintenance stuff I'll do. I just want to go out and drive it and enjoy it now. Next car, probably a 200 series. I'd love a 200 series. If you've ever heard a 200 series with like a straight through, like 3 or 4 inch exhaust, and it's just like red as, man, I just everywhere. So that would be my next car. Obviously dollars are involved with that, a lot of dollars. And until it comes a point where either I win lotto or a rich family member dies, of which I wish I had a rich family member, I'll stick with the Prado. So yeah. Okay, before I get back to you, Tom, I'm just going to go and refill my glass because I've run out of scotch. And talking to you fellas is thirsty work, so give me 2 seconds. I've got the scotch just over here. And we're back. Cheers, fellas. Here comes Cooper. Hey, Cooper. Don't know if you can see him down there. Yeah. Cooper's our old doggo. Oh, say hi. Hello. He's a bit of an old doggo now, but he's very experienced. He's done a lot of full drive trips and stuff with us. But he's getting a bit old. He's, I think, 14, nearly 15 years old this year. He's got some arthritis in his legs, which is not ideal, and the cold's a bit much. So summertime camping trips are always good, but this may be the first year that we end up not taking him for full drive trips, which breaks your heart a little bit with having dogs, but you've got to take care of them first. And yeah. Anyway, that's our good old doggo. Tom, best solvent to clean the intake manifold. Cleaning your intake manifold. I did that one a little while ago. I parked up and I had about 3 days to do it, and as such I took 3 days. Does it take 3 days? No. The best thing you can use to clean it, I used some degreaser and then some kerosene. Even petrol works pretty well. I've heard oven cleaner, but I don't have any experience with it, so I can't really comment on it. I've heard it's pretty good, but again, not too sure. You will need elbow grease to clean it. So grab some screwdrivers, grab some brushes, high pressure hose if you've got it, or high pressure air, which always helps as well. But yeah, just get in there and scrub it, man. You do need to get in there and physically move it because it's stubborn stuff. It's yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible stuff to clean. You'll get it all over your hands. You'll get it all over your face. You'll get it everywhere. So yeah, just have some degreaser. Petrol works pretty well if you can just grab some petrol from the servo. So yeah, motorcycle Josh. What do you do for work? Well, Motorcycle Josh 1, if that's your real name, but it might be an alias. At the moment, I am a full-time student. I am studying paramedicine at ECU here in Perth. This is a new little career choice for me, but at the moment I'm doing it online because it's a bit of a distance from where I live to where uni is, and uni's shut down at the moment anyway with this whole virus thing. Fun fact, if you're on YouTube and you mention the C word, which is the name of the virus, or you talk about it too much, YouTube will demonetize you because they don't like people fear-mongering. So I'm not going to say the word. What do I do for work? I work at a local BCF. I was lucky enough to get a job there as a Christmas casual, and then they kept me on a little bit longer. I've just been doing kind of on-off casual work for a number of years now. BCF is quite good because I can use my experience and help customers out that way. I learn a lot from other people as well, and from learning about products. And also I can helps me with shopping, you know, because staff discounts are the way to go. So yeah, you'll also have noticed on a few of the trips, like the recent Tim's Thicket to Buffalo trip that we do, the sandblasting to Sunset. Management will actually sponsor those, and they'll provide me with a range of goodies to give out as prizes or for giveaways, which is very nice of them. So they do help out. Most of them are four-wheel drivers themselves. They go out four-wheel driving and fishing and all the rest of it. But that's a real perk of being in that job, is they understand, right, Todd, he is an admin on a four-wheel drive group. He hosts a lot of four-wheel drive events. And so they're very, there's a word for it, very helpful with letting me have time off for that. And then they also provide little things for me to give away, which is awesome. Will they sponsor me and give me any money for that? No, I'm not big time enough for sponsors. Dave, solid front end swap. Solid front SAS conversion. That'd be fun. I've seen one done over in the States. There's a guy on the GXOR Facebook page over in the States for the Lexus GX 470, and he's actually done a front end swap with a solid front axle, and that thing is wicked. It's taken him a number of years. I talked to him about it, and yeah, it takes a long time and a lot of money to get it done. I mean, he's a fabricator, so it's pretty good for him, but would I ever do it? Probably not. I don't have the skills or the money or the time to do it. Would I drive one? Hell yeah. There was a guy over in Queensland, in Brisbane, a number of years ago, who had an FJ Cruiser with a solid front axle swap. That was done by Bud's Customs, which it was an absolute weapon. I saw it in person a few times. You're going to hear that plane now. All you bloody FIFO workers coming home from work, how dare you? Yeah, the FJ Cruiser was a weapon. It ended up costing him like 30 grand to get it done, and he couldn't afford it, so he had to keep selling it. So yeah, I'd love to, but I'm not made of money. Sorry, Dave. Ben Martin. They're good chairs. I love these chairs. I used to have just an old cheapie, just the normal quad fold chairs. They weren't too bad, but just the quality of them was shit. These ones, I love to have the solid armrests on them. I like how easy they are to set up, and they're just so much more comfortable. I love it. So shout out to OzTent for that, mate. OzTent, if you're listening and you want to sponsor the show, get in touch, because I'm more than happy to do that. I can meet halfway. I've already got one of your chairs, so if you want to provide 6 more or thousands of dollars in sponsorship funds, then I'm happy with that too. Oh, love this scotch. All right. Ty Molly, how many kilometers on your beast? 471,000 at the moment. Just another figure beyond that, but I can't remember exactly what they are. 471,000 Ks. I've owned it since 300,000 Ks. So it's 170,000 Ks in, 6 years, I think I've had the car. So pretty good, pretty happy with that innings. Oh, cheers, Shuey. Yeah, I didn't know they'd changed their policy, but I avoid the word anyway. Alice, what's your favourite camping spot in WA and your favourite cheap mods on the rig? Favourite camping spot in WA? I can't really give it away because then everyone will be there. Best place I've ever camped in WA? Oh, that is a tough one. It's a bit hard. I mean, WA is so varied. I mean, I have my favourite kind of beach camps and favourite bush camps, favourite arid camps. There's a really nice spot just out of. Oh, you know what? No, I'm going to say best spot I ever camped was probably Bill Bunya Dunes. Bill Bunya Dunes is down it's like further east than Esperance. Awesome spot, very remote. Was very taxing on the car to get there because the road leading to it was like 3 hours of driving at 40 k's an hour over like limestone outcrops. Got there and it was just amazing. It was amazing spot to go to, but it's really remote. If things go wrong, you're going to be in a very bad shape because you're like 8 to 10 hours of driving away from anywhere you're going to see other people. So yeah, we ended up on that trip. We ended up driving south from Air Highway down to Bill Bunya Dunes, and then we went along the coast to Israelite Bay, and then off to Esperance. In that whole time, we saw no other cars, no one else. And we ended up getting bogged. That's the video of the getting stuck in a salt lake, was out behind Israelite Bay in a salt lake there. That was fun. So yeah, I'd say Bill Bunya Dunes was our best camping spot. So what was the other question? Favorite cheap mods on the rig? Favorite cheap mod. Taking the side steps off made a big difference. That didn't cost anything. What else? The bumper cut. Cutting the rear bumper so it wasn't catching on everything and constantly pulling the flares off. That made a big difference. Rear drawers, again, they cost me about 100, 150 bucks to make, and they just changed the way I went camping. And then I'd probably say the Talk Pro app with a little Wi-Fi dongle so you can get your OBD diagnostics up on your phone. So yeah, they would be the best cheap mods I've done. Very much enjoyed them. Oh, hi Len. Yep, got the fire going. Probably need some more firewood in a second, but this nice jarrer is very nice. You can thank Dad for that one. He brought up a load of firewood for me. Marty, must be how much you spent. Just checking out the car. What would I suggest upgrading on your car first? What a lot of young players get caught with is doing their suspension first. I'd say against that. I'd say the first thing you should be doing is putting bar work on your car. So you're looking at bull bar, you're looking at side steps, you're looking at rear bar, whatever you decide you need to protect it. Because as soon as you drive your car away, you can just get T-boned or have a head-on with some idiot who's drunk driving, and then there's your car gone. If you have a bull bar or some good side steps or a rear bar, more than likely you'll save the car. So I'd say protect the car first, then start setting everything up with your camping fit out. Do your suspension last if you can, because then you can get your spring rates and your shock rates right for the amount of weight that you're carrying, and it will save you having to redo your suspension. I wish I'd done that. I went and got a 2-inch lift straight up. I got an Old Man Emu 2-inch lift. I loved it. It was great. But then I ended up adding more and more and more stuff, and the suspension sagged, and I kept replacing little bits and pieces to deal with the extra weight, when it would have been cheaper and easier just to go straight with the lift that I wanted. So yeah, mate, I'd say your first thing you should be looking at is bar work, and then you'd start looking at doing the fit out of your car and your camping setup, and then do your suspension last. I'd also leave tyres till last as well. I wouldn't be going straight to the 285s and all the rest of it. Don't get me wrong, they're great, and I'm sure Shuey will be able to put his hand up and say how good they are. Got spilling my drink all over myself. But they're not necessary. They're definitely an upgrade, but I'd be doing other things before that. Nikki Hugh, is your Prado your daily? Yes, it is. More often than not, I'll drive it to work. I'll drive it to uni, do whatever I need to do. Obviously, being a heavy car with a big lift on it, It does chew through a little bit of fuel when you're driving around the city. So I do have a motorbike that I try to ride around in when the weather's nice and when conditions are good. Obviously with wet weather, it makes it a bit difficult. You can always ride in wet weather, I don't have a problem with it, but it's just uncomfortable. If it's necessary to do, it's necessary to do, and I'm happy with that. But yeah, I mean, when it's raining, you'd much rather be in a car. So yeah. All right. Wow, time's getting away from me. William, I'll come back to you, mate. I've got... Where are we? I've got a cool little announcement to make, which I wanted to wait for this live stream for. For a little while now, I've been wanting to do something like this. Usually I'd kind of seen it in the realms of the bigger channels and the bigger Instagram names and all the rest of it. But I decided I want to do it because, you know, fuck the haters. I've now got in my possession Prado 120 Adventures bumper stickers. These are pretty cool. I've made these up, designed them myself and printed them. They're very durable. I've been testing them out on the missus' car now because obviously I can't drive anywhere. And she does a bit more driving than me. And so far they've been excellent on painted surfaces, on glass, in the wind, in the sun, all the rest of it. So yeah, I've got these ready to go. Will they be for sale? They will be for sale because, I mean, you got to make your cost back a little bit. Being that I've done them myself, they're a hell of a lot cheaper as well. So eventually these will be for sale for $5 each. That will be announced in later YouTube videos and on Instagram, that sort of stuff. But right now, I'm going to say I've got 5 stickers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 5 people to comment with a thumbs up, you get a sticker and I'll send it out to you. So ready, set, go. William, cool. You've got one, mate. I'll get in contact with me afterwards, and I'll send one to you. Motorcycle Josh, you've got one. Kal-El, you've got one, mate. Shuey's got one. That's 4 of them, so I'm only allowed 1 more. Who's it going to be? Tom, done, mate. There we go. 5 stickers given away. You guys have got stickers there. Calvin, for God's sake, mate. This guy always jumps in late and always expects the world. Jesus, mate. Right, I'll tell you what. Oh. That guy. You lagged. All right, we'll tell you what. After this, I mean, you guys, so William, Josh, Kal-El, Shuey, and Tom, you've all got a sticker. So send me a message on Instagram or actually, I'm pretty sure I can see these afterwards. So I'll try and get those all to you. The rest of you, so who have we got? Cal, Ty, Marty, and Nikki. Again, get in contact with me, guys, and we'll see if we can work something out. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Got some stickers on the way, which is wicked. I haven't even got one on my car yet. So yeah, you guys will get them before I even have them on the car, which is pretty cool. I'll try not to cough on them before I send them in the mail, so hopefully you don't get it. Have a 90 series, so no thumbs up from me. Ben, come on, mate. We're all friends here. We're all friends at the college, buddy. Now, I'm going to get into some more of these questions because I've got a few to work through. But I've also got something else cool as well. Let's try this stuff out and see if it works. See if you guys can see it. Oh, I don't know if that comes up on the camera. Coloured flames. That's so cool. If you can, head into BCF and buy yourself some of these. Don't know if that'll come up. But they're called Mystical Fire. They're just little, let's see, what are they? Copper sulfate, copper dichloride, and polymers. So different minerals that will give you different coloured flames, which is pretty cool. Throw some more wood on that fire, actually. Get it roaring again. All right. Show you the stickers. I'm going to do a proper post on Instagram about these as well, so you'll have a bit of a better definition of them. But essentially that comes out okay. And in total they're 25 centimeters across, so they're about the size of a standard bumper sticker, but a little bit thinner. So yeah, pretty happy with them. The artwork I got done by a guy who does digital sketches, and he gave me permission to use them for that purpose, so pretty happy with that. Marty, what's your favourite scotch? Favourite scotch? Probably Johnny Walker Double Black would be my favourite scotch, I'd say. I love the smoky taste of it. It's freaking mint. It's a little bit expensive at the moment. I only buy it when it's on special, because either it's going to be 80 bucks or it's going to be 50, so I just wait till it's on 50. Okay, I'll get to some of these. Trent Reed on YouTube asked me, did you spray paint your wheels? What paint? Yes, I spray painted my wheels. I used the spray paint you can get from Bunnings. It was called, the brand was like 2X, I think was the name of it. And basically it's like a primer and everything. So if you're looking for how I did it, I basically followed a step-by-step guide that was made by Mighty Car Mods, how to paint your wheels. So I checked that out because that's pretty much how I did it. There's not much more I can add to that. Christopher Conrad asked, how do you like your suspension setup so far? What, if anything, would you change about it? I'm very happy with the 4-inch lift. The way it rides at the moment is very schmick. Having the adjustables in the rear is kind of cool. I mostly have them on the real heavy setting anyway, because I have a lot of weight over the rear. I've been able to dial that back a little bit because I've moved most of my weight forward between the axles, so it's not all sitting on the rear. But yeah, overall I'm very happy with it. What would I change? Probably get like adjustable front shocks, just so I could play around with that, because I'm interested in trying that out. But at the moment I'm pretty happy with it all. Might even yeah, no, I'll probably maybe try some longer shocks in the rear so I can get a bit more flex, but I'm really happy with how it's sitting at the moment. So if I really had to change something, I'd find something, but there's nothing that I can think of at the moment to change over. Have you ever driven a 90? I've heard that better than a 1T, but I haven't tried a 1T. Ben, I'm not too sure. I haven't driven a 90. I haven't even sat in a 90 series, to be honest. I've got a few mates who've had 90 series, and watching them wheel and watching them do their thing is awesome. Again, I couldn't comment with one being better than the other. But yeah, they're an absolute weapon. They're cheap as chips. Unfortunately, not many people make accessories for them anymore because they're kind of a dying breed, but I think they're definitely worth being preserved. They're a bit of a pioneer. I mean, they were the first real Prado. I mean, you had the Prado, the 70 series Prado, which is cool. But there's the first kind of shopping mum car Prado. That was pretty cool. Oh, hi mum. Yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow. Turn the big 28. Thank you. But yeah, we don't need to make a deal of that. Mark Trolope, I think I pronounced that right. He says, thanks, a really helpful vehicle, thanks for sharing. Toyota OEM CVs. I think I mentioned this in a previous comment about CVs. I don't have Toyota genuine CVs in there. I can't afford them. They're too expensive for what they are. So yeah, I'll stick with aftermarkets unless I really find I'm having a really bad luck with aftermarket stuff. So I'll stick with that. I had another question on here, again from a name I can't pronounce. I think it's Mujahimiji. Looking for the bull bar lights that you got out there. Assist with a link. Bull bar lights, I mean the spotlights are Light Force XGT HID lights. I got them secondhand and built them from halogens to HIDs, which is pretty cool. The what are they called? Fog lights. Originally I had the ARB ones, didn't like them. Tried some aftermarket ones, didn't like them. Eventually I've got these like Gen 1 steady lights, which are the fog lights. They sell a different model now, but they're the same. They're like the original ones that Steady used to sell, which I'm very happy with. And then the like indicator things, again, I just bought them off eBay. They were about 70 bucks for a pair for the LED indicator and park light assembly. So pretty happy with that. Oh, geez, cheers guys. Thanks, guys. Yeah, good on you, Mum. Always piping in. Now, there's a young bloke out there from Bunbury. His name is Josh Taliano. I think he's Italian. He's got Italian name. He's a young bloke. He's just kind of come out of high school. I've taken him under my wing. He doesn't know much about full driving or cars. He's like not bad at fishing. He can do some fishing like on an app on his phone, but that's about it. Anyway, he's asked me a question. Says, "Is traction control good for off-road?" Which I would love to say I'm qualified to answer, but I'm not because my car doesn't have traction control. And I've seen people who have traction control and they do amazing off-road. It's good as a supplementary to diff locks. The main difference between traction control and diff locks is the amount you have to push it to get the wheels to spin. Most of the traction control systems I've seen, usually you have to give it a bit of right boot. You have a little bit of right boot. You have to make the ECU see that it's slipping, and then it will fix itself. Diff locks just those idle up places. So usually in like IFS combos, IFS vehicles, you end up spinning the wheels a little bit more before they, the traction kicks in. So there's a bit of a chance to break CVs. Again, I've been out with vehicles that have traction control. Yeah, Shuey, yep, you mate, I'm talking about you. You've got traction control and you've done some very impressive stuff. And watching other 120s and 150s and other cars with traction control do better than me, because I've just got open diff, so I don't have traction control, I don't have stability control. So I'm all about picking my line and then trying to go nice and slow, and if not, go faster and faster. So yeah, traction control is a good off-road. Yes, it is good off-road. I'd still say lockers are better, but if you've got a car with traction control, you then don't have to buy lockers. They're an optional extra. So yeah, for me, I'd buy lockers, but again, that's my situation. I don't have traction control. What else I got? Now, young mate Nick here. On Instagram, he's called Nick the Best 3. Nick Frost, who's on the WA Prado page, good fella. He asked me, what have been the most frequent item that you've had to change out on the car since you've had it? Probably brake pads and oil filters. Nothing too crazy. Before I did the bumper chop, I ended up going through a fair few sets of mud flaps, which on the 120s are pretty notorious for getting squashed and getting pulled off. The clips behind the rear flares, I've had to replace a bunch of them. But apart from that, it's been nothing too crazy. It's just maintenance stuff that I've had to replace. I had a stage where I was going through heaps of headlight bulbs, which was weird. And then I just kept replacing them, and then it kind of fixed itself up. So, all good. Now, I wanted to give a shout out as well to a guy called Corey. He lives on the South Island of New Zealand. He runs a page called Hook NM 4x4. He's on Instagram, he's on Facebook. He's also an admin on a big page called Overlanding in New Zealand, or in NZ. And he's a follower of the page and a very fond supporter, and we end up chatting a fair bit about our products because he's got one over in New Zealand. They've got a much more lax laws about vehicle modifications, and as such his is an absolute monster. He sent me a bunch of questions, all of which would probably take me 20 minutes or 30 minutes to answer, but I'll pick out some of his. How much does my Prado weigh? About 2.8 tons, I'd say. I haven't been over a weighbridge for a while. What's your favourite mod? It depends. 4-inch lift, absolutely love it. Rear draw setup, changes the way I camp. Rooftop tent, amazing. And the new light bar I've got on there is an absolute game changer. What mod do you regret doing? Can't really say. I do kind of wish I'd just gone straight to 285s instead of sticking with the 265/70s, but they're awesome. Do I regret? Can't really say, to be honest. I don't really have anything that I regret on there. Everything I had to really think out. So yeah, man, I couldn't tell you. Would you consider buying a petrol Prado, and why? I would consider it. The old advice used to be that they chew through the fuel, that they're not very torquey, etc., that they reduce in value quite quickly. I don't think that's 100% true. After hearing a lot more stories of the V6 Prados, I'd consider it. I would consider getting one. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose if one came up, I'd have to give it a go. My dream four-wheel drive. probably like a 4-inch lift 200 series. Excuse me. Goals for the YouTube channel. That's an interesting one. I don't really have any goals for it. I haven't set out with like a goal in mind for like, this is what I want it to be. I started it as kind of like, oh yeah, give it a go, see what happens. I try not to take it too seriously, and as such, I probably don't invest as much time in it as I should. Goal for it, I don't know, having lots of subscribers. The revenue from it isn't too bad. I mean, if you start aiming to make a lot of money on YouTube, your videos come across as very ungenuine, which I'm trying to avoid. So I'm not looking to make a living off YouTube. I think unless you're in that real top tier of YouTubers who are making like thousands of dollars a day for just like Twitch streaming on League of Legends, the amount of time and effort that goes into making a video, to shooting it, to setting it all up, to buying all the stuff for it, to then going into like editing and post-production, that sort of stuff, like time-wise versus how much money you make off of it, you're better off like flipping burgers at Hungry Jack's. You'll make more money that way. So until you really break over that crest, it's not really something to aim for. What's your day job? Already mentioned, I work at BCF. How long have you been into four-wheel driving? Oh, since I was little. Ever since I could push a little toy car through a muddy puddle or ride my motorbike through it, I've been interested in getting stuck and trying to not get stuck. I think my brother kind of gave me the bug a number of years ago. He's been big into four-wheel driving for a long time, an older brother of mine. So I've kind of followed in his footsteps with that. Sorry guys, kind of lost you on there. Do you know how much you've spent on mods all up? Scare us. How much I've spent? It would definitely be between 10 and 15 grand, I'd say. Definitely. Might be more than that. Probably wouldn't be less than that. I haven't really been counting every penny that leaves because I don't really want to know. But it would definitely be up in that ballpark there somewhere. So that kind of scares me, kind of recouping that number. What's your liters per 100? Whoa. I think when I last figured it out, it was around 13.5 to 14 liters from memory. It was on a recent Instagram post I did. But yeah, I'm getting around 1400 Ks so far. Sorry guys, I'm talking too much. How much do you make roughly off YouTube? That's an interesting question, and it varies a lot depending on your revenue sources. So the way that you make money off YouTube is through ads. It sounds kind of silly, but that's how you make your money. Is big companies will pay YouTube to put ads on your videos. What ads get put on those videos is determined by a YouTube algorithm and bots who are kind of auctioning off different ads for different people. Different YouTube channels will be targeted towards different demographics. They'll have different content they make, and as such, different ads will show up on different channels. And so it's really like how many ads get watched. I find that as soon as a video goes out, I get a bit of a peak in like my revenue income. But in total, it ends up kind of flattening out. It is going up because the number of subscribers I have means that YouTube gives me more exposure. More views on there means more people watching more ads, which gives you a little bit more each time. So there is kind of an upwards trend on it. Last month, so for the month of February, it was around about $30 for the month, so about $1 a day in revenue. It's slowly been going up, so I think in March it might be closer towards like maybe 35, but again, I couldn't tell you. It's so negligible. Like the amount of work you put into running everything, it's like you're losing money compared to making it. But you know, if I get $30 a month, you know, there's $360 a year. I'll pay for one new tire. Who knows? So I hope that answers your question. Thoughts on Shauno's new Dirty 30? Love it, absolutely love it. Looks really cool. I'd love to see it in person. The sandy taupe kind of color is kind of hypnotizing. It's really, really nice. He's put a lot of work into it, and I like that he's gone through and filmed it all. and he's not just kind of gone with buy a new 79 series and just throw the ARB catalog on it, which is kind of cool. Definitely a one-off forward drive, and yeah, I'm frothing. I can't wait to see it out there again. What's the hardest part you had to replace? Whoa. Hardest part. Not too sure on that one. Again, having something that's hard to do versus like takes a long time to do, I couldn't really say. I'd say maybe the rear door, the rear tailgate might be the most difficult, just because it was like it took me forever to source parts, and then I had to get stuff moved over, and it was a very big and awkward thing to do, and I had to run new wiring and redo stuff. So probably that, in the scope of things, might be the hardest thing to replace. But yeah, I wouldn't say anything. I mean, recently when I had to do the CVs and I had the drive shaft nut was just seized on there, so I had to I broke 3 breaker bars trying to get it off. It was like leaning on them and they just snapped in half. So I just got the angle grinder out and cut the nut off and chiseled it, and eventually it moved. So that was difficult, but again, hardest, kind of subjective. So yeah, either CV drive shaft nut or the rear tailgate. I hope that answers your questions. If you were to get lockers front or rear first, would you go both? Definitely I'd go both. That would be kind of cool. Both is really ideal. First, I would go a rear locker. I've seen advice for either going a front or a rear. The idea with front being that, like, you know, you're more likely to lift front wheels, whatever. With my setup, the rear end is really flexy, so more often than not, the rear end is going to stay on the ground. If I have a rear locker, then even if I lift a rear wheel, it's still going to be driving, and it's more than likely going to stay on the ground. With having the front locker in, you really have to crawl, because once that front wheel comes back down, if it's spinning and it hits, you're going to break a CV. The rear axle is going to be stronger than the front. So in my opinion, I'd go a rear locker before a front locker, because then I could use it in more situations. Even just watching full drive action, they tend to use their rear lockers more than their fronts, unless they're in like a really gnarly situation. So for my money, I'd go rear locker and then front locker. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, Shuey. It's definitely dropped off a bit. The converse side of that is also that the inverse side of that is also that there are now more people on YouTube who are watching stuff because they're stuck at home. So while maybe your dollars per view might be less, or cents per view, or millicents per view, which as it usually is, the frequency of views has gone up. So maybe that's kind of equaled out, but it's kind of too early to tell that. Engine mounts was a bugger to do. It's just in a really bad position, but again, I got it done within a morning. So filming and everything, it took me about 6 hours to do, and it was more just access to bolts, which I wouldn't say is completely difficult. Ben, love your work, mate. Yeah, thanks, man. That's good to have a little bit of feedback. It's good to hear from people when they actually respond to things. And this is the first time I've done a live Q&A. It's the first time I've done live YouTube, so it's been a bit of a hit and miss with things going on. So look, yeah, thanks for the feedback, man. And we'll definitely look at doing something like this again in the future. Don't know what the topic will be about. Maybe it'll be another Q&A of all the questions I didn't get to. But yeah, cheers, man. Tom, hardest part, last night, changed the dump up. I didn't do that one. I could not get to that one, and I think I just about rounded it. I ended up driving the car with just a dump pipe hanging off of it, drove it to a exhaust place, and just said, look, mate, I'll pay you whatever you need to get this nut off because I can't do it. And they said, yeah, no worries. That was literally in the shop for about 5 seconds. They used a rattle gun and about 6 different extension bars and joiners. And they said, yep, done. Okay, drive home. And it drove home. The whole thing rattled because your dump pipe was loose. And then I did the rest at home. So, yeah, that was... I've heard it's very hard, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. All right, who's your favourite YouTubers? That's a good question. Favourite YouTubers? I watch a wide variety of stuff, as most people do. I don't just watch four-wheel drive stuff, but I watch a wide variety of things, depending on what I'm interested in at the time. Danny Mon, who most people will know who Danny Mon is. She's really good to watch. Very down-to-earth girl. Obviously has a big following, and if you know her, then you know why. but she's very down to earth in what she says, and her most recent videos about like being a YouTube star and being famous and how you deal with stuff is very interesting to listen to, so I listen to that. Four Drive Action's a big one. Ronnie Dahl, I love watching Ronnie Dahl's videos. I find sometimes some videos are more exciting than others. Ronnie Dahl's are awesome for the stuff that he does. He's definitely gone more into like a photography and like videography kind of vein of things, and as such he's producing some really awesome content. Not the kind of stuff that Four Drive Action do, so they do more like, you know, yelling and screaming and tires spinning everywhere. So I watch both because I kind of get my kicks out of both of them. Yes, Mighty Car Mods. I watch lots of Mighty Car Mods. Loving their stuff at the moment with the MI2 and the Moon Buggy. Hooligans. Haven't seen much of them, or Hoonigans, I think their name is. I've heard a lot of them. The American stuff I find it hard to watch. I don't know, their kind of flavour of humour isn't really appealing to me, but I watch it every now and then of some of the stuff they do over there. What else do I watch? Yeah, Sam Isles of Built Not Bought. I watch him a little bit. He's good to watch. Some of his earlier videos of him actually building up his patrol are very interesting. He brings up a lot of awesome points about like how he does stuff in the shed and what he prefers to do. Obviously, he threw a lot of money at that car, and as such, he spent a lot of money and got brand new parts and did, you know, bought stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, everything you have to take with a grain of salt. But I enjoy watching him. He's really interesting to watch, and I've taken inspiration from him when I make my own videos, because I think that his enthusiasm and his he's very good to watch because he's entertaining, and I try to involve that in as much as I try to take that into account when I make my videos. So yeah, Sam Isles, Mighty Car Mods, Australian Overlanding with St. Pierre White. He's good to watch for a number of things. He does some good discussions. Again, different flavours for different people. Who else do I watch? There'll be some other ones, but I can't remember exactly who they are at the moment. Nicky Hugh, 1GR versus 1KD. Wow. Common rail diesel, D4 detonate, or the V6-inator. Which would I prefer? I don't know, that's a hard one. I prefer either one. I don't know. If I was going to buy another car, I'd probably go a V6. Probably go, just because it's something different. The diesel, I've driven a D4D a few times, and I enjoy it. Having more power, it's a little bit smoother, that sort of thing. But I wouldn't say that it's worth selling the 1KZ over. So I'd probably go the V6, to be honest. Pretty good fun. Dave, Shuey's Adventures. Oh, sometimes I watch him. You know, he's a young fella. He's just, you know, got his first full drive, and he's making a few videos with a GoPro. Good on you, man. No, Shuey does some really cool stuff, and he's got some. He has a great mind for videography. The way he produces a lot of stuff is really cool as well, and then like the frequency of uploads is really cool as well, because you always see what's going on. With my videos, I tend to make a big fuss over the editing, and as such, it may take me kind of a week or 2 weeks to kind of go from going on a trip to getting a video out, and as such, I don't put out as much content. I wouldn't say it's any better than Shuey's. Actually, I think Shuey's is sometimes better. I don't know. I think you have a background, mate. I think you must have a background in editing, or you've got a better mind of it than I do. So good on you, man. I'll definitely be watching a few more of your videos. And Shuey, we're going to do some collabs when this whole COVID thing rolls over. So get keen for that, mate, because I'm keen for it again. We'll do some more camping trips and stuff. Alice, in your regards to your front rotors and pads, was it worth it? Would you recommend? Yes, I would recommend it. I found it made a big difference. When I put the lift in, I did a full set of braided brake lines. I put the slotted rotors in the front, and I put some better brake pads in there as well, so it's not the plain gone overhead now. Fly past. Scotch for it. Yeah, so yeah, I definitely would recommend. Upgrading your brakes because it makes a big difference. Quick question, I'll get to. Yeah, mate. Yeah, sure. We'd definitely do the collab, man. And iMovie is good. I used to use Windows Movie Maker, and then I found that with Windows 10 they got rid of it, so I had to find something else. A question I got on Instagram was from Johan Marius. I think that's how that's pronounced. He says, "Is a diff drop needed for a 2-inch lift? What are the benefits?" No, a diff drop is not needed for a 2-inch lift. Diff drops are there to return your CVs back to a more safe angle. That being said, I've got a 4-inch lift and I don't run a diff drop, and I haven't broken anything. I find it's fine. Usually, if you put a diff drop in, you'll need to like get custom bash plates made because your diff's now sitting lower and it will foul on it. So I'm not going to bother with it. My mate Joe over in Brisbane. I don't know if you're on here, Joe, but you'll probably see it at some point. He is a good mate. We used to go out forward driving a long time ago when I was in Brisbane, and he had a Mitsubishi Challenger, which was kind of Mitsubishi's equivalent of a Prado. And yeah, we both kind of upgraded our cars kind of together, and we had some really cool trips. So he asked me thoughts on my Challenger, and now he's got a 105 series cruiser. The Challenger was awesome. Factory rear diff lock, had the traction control, heaps of clearance, heaps of flex. Did really well. I liked it. It was pretty cool. Is it for me? I don't know. Again, I wouldn't turn one down. I had my own a Prado 120 for a long time. I love the shape of them. I love the look of them, so I stuck with that. So yeah, and the 105 series, love it. Tough looking truck. Can't wait to hopefully get it on Flash 4Bs one day, eventually. Oh, that's the other question I got as well. Was someone was asking me when's the next episode of Flash 4Bs? It'll be out when I film another forward drive. Obviously, at the moment, being in isolation, we can't get out and do too much. But the whole idea of Flash 4Bs is that it's not just Prado related. I didn't want to just do, oh, here's a whole heap of modified Prados. You can find that pretty easy. So I'm going out and looking for four-wheel drives that are got that kind of custom work done to them. They're custom to the owner, how the owner set them up. Haven't just got a catalogue thrown at them. So one will be coming soon enough. So yeah, so I throw another question on there. Josh, thinking about getting braided brake lines, eBay spec. Mate, I got my braided brake lines through eBay. I'd love to tell you the people who sold them, but I can't remember off the top of my head. If you search Prado braided lines 4-inch, then you'll probably find them. Yeah, they work fine, man. They're good quality. If you're really worried about it, get them made up locally, but it was going to be close to $450 to get them made up locally. No, sorry, more than that, because the Prado you need 6 lines made up, and they're a bit over $100 each, so yeah, it would have been a lot more. But to get a whole set of 6 of them for like, I think it was $340 or something, was excellent. So yeah, definitely do it, mate. If you're going to do it though, you got to do a full fluid flush, and you got to kind of know your way around the braking system, because if you stuff it up, your car won't stop. So keep that in mind, man. But I would definitely encourage you to get out and try it. Hilton, how do you remove injector lines for manifold clean without getting dirt in them? It's a bit difficult, man. Usually you just remove them, and then when you put them back on, you'll end up flushing diesel and stuff through them before you attach them to your new injectors. And that's done by simply, once you've got your new injectors in, don't reattach the injector lines back to the injectors. Just leave them hanging off. Put a little bit of cloth down there or some paper, and turn the car over a few times. That'll pump diesel through those fuel lines, pump out any dirt or anything that's caught in them, stop it going into new injectors, and then once you're happy that all of your injector lines are clean and they're all flowing, then attach them back up to your injectors. So yeah, that's how I do it, man. Yeah, so look, I've pretty much gone through all my questions here. There's a few other general ones, but we've pretty much gone through them in our discussion. Look, guys, have you got any other questions for me? Because if you have, throw them down, and I'll answer them as best I can. If not, we'll probably look at wrapping this up pretty soon, because I've been talking for a long time and I'm very hungry. I've been thinking about that Mexican food that old mate brought up before. So look, if you've got any other questions, yeah, let me know. Can you do this front braided brake lines? Do you do the whole set? This was something I came up with when I was doing the braided brake lines. I did my braided brake lines and I had about 430,000 Ks on it. When your rubber brake lines are that old, they'll become perished. They'll swell a lot when you put your foot down on the brakes, and as such, they're worn. They're not just going to burst, but they've got some kind of wear in them. With replacing them to braided brake lines, you've gone from having 6 lines that have flex in them to now having, well, if you're just doing the front, then you've only got 4 lines with flex in them. So you've still got the same amount of pressure inside the lines, but now those lines which are rubber are going to flex even more. And if they're perished, then more than likely they'll split or just break altogether. So look, my advice would be, have a look at your old ones. If they're perished, if you can really stretch them out by hand, then replace the whole lot. I mean, it's not that much more expensive to just buy a whole set. If you've got a 120 series Prado with ABS, make sure you get a 6-line kit. If you've got like a 2003 model, it has like a 2.7 litre, I'm pretty sure they're the only ones that didn't come without ABS, then you can get away with the 5-line kit, but you need the 6 lines if you've got ABS. I hope that answered your question, man. Feel free to send me a message if you've got any more questions. Should have done a cook-up. Going to be doing one soon. I like this live stream thing, and I like having the fire here, and while we're all stuck at home, I've decided I'm going to get the campfire or the camp oven out, and I'm going to make some damper and show you all how I do that. It's not hard to make damper, but some people haven't done it before, so throw it up there, see what happens. Maybe someone in America will just blow their noodle how easy it is to make damper. Where's my flannel? Mate, I was going to wear it. I was honestly going to put it on, but it's too bloody hot today. I know you're over in Sydney at the moment, bloody Calvin, in your fancy hotel room put up by the government. How lucky for you. But over here it was like 38 degrees today. Even here by the fire, it's still quite warm. So I was going to wear it, but I didn't want to be sweating balls the whole time. But yeah, flannel will be coming back when it's a bit cooler. Where are you going to go when the whole today time settle down? Where am I going to go? I'd love to go down and do like Harvey Dam, Brunswick Dam, even just a run on the beach would be nice. I'd even be keen to like go up north, drive north and find a cool place to go forward driving. Depends on when this lockdown kind of ends and when it wraps up. At the moment, I'm just keen to go anywhere. I've got a bunch of trips with WO Prado which are planned, and as we kind of get closer to them, I'll cancel them if isolation is still required. But I may find that isolation will end, and then I've got a trip planned, so I'll just go on that. But yeah, I'd love to go. I just want to go somewhere camping. I want to take the dogs, take the wife, and just go somewhere camping, go for driving for a bit. But just go. I don't care where I go. It'll be great. Can you really beat it? Yeah, cheers, Tom. Again, thanks for the feedback, man. I really appreciate it. I know in this day and age, we're kind of not a lot of people give feedback, and even if it's constructive feedback or whether it's critical or whatever, I enjoy getting feedback. I want to know how I can do better. This isn't my. I'm not a very social butterfly, so I'm just getting used to it. But look, thank you very much for your feedback. We'll definitely be doing more of these Q&As soon. And hopefully some more live streams, because I like being able to talk to you guys. This is great, because like I imagine you guys are all over Australia. I mean, I'm here in WA. I know Shuey and a few other people where they're at, but it's great to be able to chat to you guys and do this kind of thing. So yeah, thanks again for your feedback. Shuey, yep, we'll catch up again soon. Again, if you were one of those first 5 people, send me a message. I'll go back through and get in touch with you if I can. But yeah, and I'll work on getting those stickers out. So yeah, I think it's dinner time for me, guys. So look, thank you very much. Cheers to you guys. Been great sitting around the campfire. I think we had a maximum of like 25 people watching at the same time, which is pretty cool. So yeah, cheers, Ben. I'll have a good birthday, I'm sure. Maybe I'll polish the car again. That'll be good. Or I'll water the gardens, or I'll just sleep in. Who knows? Anyway, cheers, guys. I'm going to end this recording here, but thanks for tuning in. Catch you again soon. This is Todd from Prado 120 Adventures, signing off. Always wanted to say that. Oh, you got it? Just a bit.